Right, let's dive into this explainer and unpack the rapidly evolving and honestly sometimes super frustrating world of electric vehicle charging infrastructure. If you follow the EV space at all, you already know the cars themselves are just incredible pieces of technology. But, and this is a big but, they are literally only as good as the power grid that keeps them moving. So today, we're going behind the scenes. We're going to explore this massive, multi-billion-dollar industry trying to keep commercial fleets on the road, and we'll look at the fascinating mobile startups stepping in to rescue you when the grid falls short. We've got some great data and real-world examples to get through, so let's just jump right in.
We're going to start with a very real, very stressful problem. Just recently, a panicked driver going by the username HDHBGF posted this online. Picture this. They're stranded at their apartment complex. They've got exactly 7% battery left, no outlet at home, and they are staring down a massive $165 quote for an on-demand emergency charge. They're literally asking the internet, is this a scam? I mean, throwing that kind of money at an emergency rescue fee feels absolutely daunting. And, this perfectly captures that intense vulnerability of EV ownership when things just don't go according to plan.
But here's the wild part about range anxiety. Actually, wait, the real twist here is that this might not even be a main battery issue. Experienced drivers jumped into that forum to point out that the specific Stop Safely Now error on a 2016 Ford Focus EV is notoriously linked to a dead 12-volt accessory battery. Not the massive drive battery underneath the car, just the little, normal one. It just goes to show that being stranded in an EV isn't always as simple as running out of gas. It is a highly complex, technical ecosystem where one single point of failure can leave you completely immobilized.
Giants of EV charging, the macro solution. Before we can really understand those emergency responders, we have to look at the massive, permanent infrastructure making up the backbone of our electrified future. Just look at the sheer scale of the established networks laying the groundwork out there. We're talking absolute titans pouring billions into fixed real estate. ChargePoint, they're operating a staggering network of over 225,000 ports globally. Tesla, of course, has built out their exclusive web of over 50,000 superchargers worldwide. Then you have Electrify America pushing the boundaries as the largest open DC fast charging network in the US. EVgo is hyper-focused on urban centers running on 100% renewable energy. And across the pond, InstaVolt is building these massive 160 kilowatt ultra-rapid hubs.
But here's the reality check. All that scale, all those ports, they mean absolutely zero if the charger doesn't work when you plug it in. Reliability is everything. If you're running a commercial fleet of delivery vans, finding a charger is only half the battle. That's why industry benchmark providers like Kimpower are aiming for a 99% uptime standard. That means constant proactive monitoring, on-site inspections, rapid software updates. Because pulling up to a broken screen and a dead cable, yeah, that's not an option. Uptime isn't just some neat bonus feature, it is the absolute foundation of trust in this industry.
Metrics of reliability, speed, and success. To truly understand how these networks keep fleets moving, we need to dig into the actual data behind the plug. Because in this business, time is quite literally money, and speed is the ultimate metric. Level 1 charging, that's just your standard wall outlet, is completely useless for commercial fleets. Level 2 is your destination charger. It's great for overnight depot charging where you have a few hours to spare. But the absolute game changer, DC fast charging. Pumping high-power direct current straight into the car, getting a battery up to 80% in just 20 to 30 minutes. Whether you manage a massive logistics company or you're just a commuter running late, matching the right charging speed to your daily usage is absolutely crucial.
However, all that blazing speed means nothing if the charge doesn't even start. Recent market data shows success rates are hitting around 86%. Now, on the surface, 86% sounds pretty solid, right? But let's flip that perspective. That leaves a 14% failure rate. That is a massive liability. Imagine managing a fleet of 100 delivery trucks, and 14 of them just fail to charge on the first try. It completely paralyzes your morning operations. And for our stranded Reddit user, that 14% represents a dark, lonely parking lot and a whole lot of panic.
The mobile charging evolution. This glaring gap in reliability sparks a radically different approach. Basically, if you can't guarantee the car will make it to the charger, why not take the charger directly to the car? It's a complete philosophical shift in how we distribute energy. On one hand, you have stationary networks. They boast incredible power, some pushing up to 350 kilowatts, but they're permanently chained to expensive, fixed real estate. Mobile networks, on the other hand, act like the industry's rapid response team. They don't need building permits, and they physically drive to the stranded vehicle. The trade-off, though?
their power output is much lower, usually hovering between 50 and 150 kilowatts. It's a fascinating contrast.
And let me tell you, there is serious institutional momentum behind this mobile philosophy. Just recently, the startup BEECHARGED EV secured a whopping $7 million in new funding, dedicating about $3.2 million of that specifically just to buy new charging equipment. This isn't just some niche roadside assistance gimmick anymore. Major capital is betting heavily that mobile charging is going to be a highly vital piece of the national infrastructure puzzle.
They are using that cash to launch some seriously aggressive emergency networks. Take their recent grand opening down in San Diego. They're deploying units designed to completely eliminate range anxiety, boasting a sub-30-minute average response time anywhere in the county. They're bringing on-demand DC fast charging straight to you, 24/7. And they aren't stopping there. They are even developing commercial trucking battery swapping tech. It's an incredibly ambitious vision for the future.
Real-world roadblocks. Of course, as exciting as all of this on-demand charging sounds, the reality on the ground is tough. Let's look at the hurdles.
Because despite all this cool innovation, mobile charging faces massive financial and mechanical roadblocks. Deploying just one single mobile charging unit, that can run you anywhere from $200,000 to $500,000 up front. That is astronomical. Plus, operators have this nightmare of dual maintenance. They have to fix the engine and tires of the rescue truck while also maintaining the ultra-sensitive high-voltage EV equipment on the back. Throw in slower charge speeds and the endless headache of software compatibility across dozens of car brands, and you've got a logistical mountain to climb. Ultimately, someone has to pay those astronomical operational costs, which brings us right back to our buddy on Reddit. See, massive B2B fleets can absorb high service costs because they absolutely have to keep their delivery vans running to fulfill client contracts. But the everyday consumer, they are left balking at a $165 emergency rescue fee. For a massive logistics business, it's just the cost of doing business. But for a renter stuck at 7% battery, it just feels like a completely frustrating, insurmountable penalty.
The future of charging. So, as we look ahead, how do companies actually bridge this massive gap between high infrastructure costs and the desperate need for reliable power? To scale up without going bankrupt, companies are relying on deep data. Step 1 is route analysis, matching exact battery needs to the right charging speeds so you aren't overpaying. Step 2 is using advanced software to dodge those painful peak grid rates, charging up only when electricity is cheapest. But step 3? This is the real secret sauce. Charge as a service, or CaaS. Instead of buying all this expensive hardware, companies are essentially outsourcing the entire headache of maintenance and uptime guarantees to specialized providers. It's all about strategic data integration to ensure those vehicles never end up stranded in the first place.
So as this industry tries to balance building multi-million-dollar solar hubs with deploying $165 mobile rescue trucks, we really have to ask ourselves, are we simply trading the easy convenience of the corner gas station for a total complex dependence on the electrical grid? The tech is moving at lightning speed, for sure, but bridging the gap between what the grid can handle and true consumer peace of mind is still very much a work in progress. Next time you see an EV plugged in, just remember the massive, invisible ecosystem fighting to keep that little green battery icon lit up.